Well, I was sassoon trained, and it was a very precision-oriented hair cutting. And I got to a point where I needed something else. And the straight razors was a little intimidating for me. So I wanted to come up with something that wasn't as intimidating. I needed something like another paintbrush to make myself more creative, more spontaneous. So I thought of putting a razor in a comb. So I glued a razor onto a comb, and I came up with something called I called it the carving comb. It's really fun to use. It's less intimidating. It makes the hair move. It gives it more texture. It makes it sexy. It does what a scissor cannot do. But the bottom line is it makes the hair artist more creative and more spontaneous. That's exactly what I could say. And that's exactly what it did for me. They are now hair artists. Absolutely, because they have more paintbrushes, and I call our tools paintbrushes because when a master or an artist creates a painting or a masterpiece, they don't create the masterpiece with one paintbrush. They use multiple tools for texture. They'll use a trowel to add something in the painting. That's exactly how I feel, or that's exactly how the hair artists should feel when they're using the Donald Scott carving cut tools. Well, I love Wild Beauty. I love my history with Wild Beauty. I love that I traveled with Wild Beauty. I love that I was part of the launch of Wild Beauty. And I love that Wild Beauty is continuing the legacy of Donald Scott NYC global. And when I got here, the warmth and the love, I felt like I was home again. I felt like my family was here. I met Reinhold in Las Vegas, and he said, Donald, he says, would you like to come to Germany? We are launching our Wild Beauty distributorship. And I said, it would be my pleasure. And I came to Germany with Reinhold, and we did a tour of Germany, and we did shows in every part of Germany. And then that started it. And then I came back, and Reinhold says, Donald, we want you to come back and do it again, which was wonderful. That was so fantastic. My first job out of hair school was with Paul Mitchell. And he was my father in the beauty industry. And we started out, okay? I started with Paul and Henry Bendel's, and then we went to, we opened up Paul Mitchell's Super Hair. And then we did shows all over the country. We had the Energy Crisis Road shows. We had, we worked for other manufacturers before John Paul Mitchell Systems started. So that was my start. Paul was absolutely fantastic. He was creative, he was crazy. He was just sensational, and we just had a great time. Paul was crazy, which resulted in creativity. Paul would do things to hair just to see what it would do. Sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't work. But that's what creativity is. That's what it is. That's what innovation is.